We now live in an upside-down, topsy-turvy world where north is south and south is north, where a man is a woman and a woman is a man, where printing money doesn't cause inflation, plot spoiler, it does, and where a Labour government is somehow the answer to Britain's problems. Sir Keir Starmer has outlined his so-called five-point mission, presumably to rival Rishi Sunak's five-point plan. Starmer's are to secure the highest sustained growth in the G7, build an NHS fit for the future, make Britain's streets safe, break down the barriers to opportunity at every stage, and make Britain a clean energy superpower. Sounds lovely. But how is Keir Starmer possibly the answer to our economic issues, given the fact that he will likely yield to public sector workers on strike and their inflation-busting pay demands? And how will he tackle our eye-watering national debt, fueled by the lockdowns, of which, of course, he was such a big fan, by borrowing further billions to splash the cash in the public sector, which, of course, he will be expected to do if he reaches number 10? How is Keir Starmer the answer to our policing problems, given the fact that statistics covering the year to September 2022 show that in England and Wales, there was an average of 1.2 robbery offences per 1,000 people in areas controlled by Labour police and crime commissioners, roughly double that of other areas which showed just 0.6% robbery offences per 1,000 people. Do you think Keir Starmer, the most woke politician in the country, someone who will seize any opportunity to signal his virtue, is going to crack down on woke policing, in which cops spend more time turning up at people's houses for an offensive Facebook post than addressing real crime? Presumably, Starmer's plan for the NHS is to pump more billions into this financial black hole, which is getting more expensive and worse by the day. Will Sir Keir Starmer get rid of some of the 3,500 middle managers on six-figure salaries currently employed by the health service? Will he get rid of the diversity officers for what is the most diverse employer in the world? Good luck with that. He said he's going to break down barriers to opportunity at every stage, a pledge vaguer than the details of Nadeem Zahawi's tax return. And then there's the environment. Now, I want to clean up the planet as much as anyone, but Starmer wants to clean out the nation's coffers with an expensive plan to get Britain carbon neutral by 2030. Insulating millions of homes, extraordinarily expensive, rolling out an electric infrastructure, and betting the house on green energy. Laudable though it may sound, and I do believe in home insulation, this radical push to go green as countries like China and America continue to pollute like fun is a crazy and costly experiment, particularly given the fact that Starmer is going to create a terrifying 1970s-style state-owned energy company, investing our borrowed billions in flaky renewables. Yikes. We're not just living in an upside-down, topsy-turvy world. The cervix-free leader of the opposition is topsy-turvy himself, banging on about defending women's rights whilst taking the knee to so-called gender ideology, which challenges the very idea of biological sex. Remember, he can't even say what a woman is, even though he's married to one. 5 years of Keir Starmer means 5 years of more woke hell. And Starmer is pretty upside down and topsy-turvy when it comes to magic grandpa himself, former Labour leader Jeremy Corbyn, previously campaigning for him to be Prime Minister, on record as saying that Corbyn would be a great Prime Minister, whilst now evicting the same man who hasn't really said anything different from what he said before. Jeremy Corbyn, as Prime Minister, would have been a national security and economic disaster for the country. Starmer campaigned for him to get the top job. He was an enabler, if you like, an accomplice. Now Starmer is campaigning for the same man to be chucked out of the party. Doesn't show great judgment, does it? Starmer is topsy-turvy and upside down on nationalisation, which he wanted when he ran for the leadership, but which now he doesn't. Don't get me wrong, the Tories are disastrous. But they finally got, in my view, somebody sensible in charge. It's not a great choice, But if it is a choice between Sunak and Starmer, I'll take Sunak all day long, with his plan to stop the boats, which doesn't even make Starmer's list of 5, if he achieves the halving of inflation, and if he tackles our horrific debt. I think Sunak's 5-point plan is more in tune with what the people of Britain actually want. Give me 5. Meanwhile, Keir Starmer thinks his plan is the Fab 5. Well, I beg to differ. Starmer's so-called 5 missions are all mission impossible.